What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream. We are doing our match preview. Hopefully you're all having a good day, or evening I should say now. Hopefully you all had a lovely day after that win yesterday at Loftus Road against Sheffield Wednesday. Nick, we've got Nick in the chat. Hi DB, how's it going? So I'm all good, mate. How are you? Hope you had a good day today. Yeah. What is there to say? A lot today, to be honest. A lot which we'll cover. Mad day in football today, to be honest. Mad day in football. Almiron getting sacked. Celtic manager getting sacked after 8 games. So yeah, it's quite crazy today with football news. But we'll get into that after our match preview. Well, not that stuff, but more QPR stuff. So yeah, Nick says he's good. Good to hear, good to hear, good to hear. Who else we got in the chat? Anyone else in the chat? Anyone else anyone else there? Should I say there? Anyone else fancy popping in for a chat? Let us know how you're feeling today. Alright, we got all the news ready anyway for QPR. Apart from obviously yesterday's game. So yeah. You know what? Alright, we'll kick straight into it anyway today. Right. So yesterday's game, great victory, but a disappointing victory in my opinion. It's good to see we got the 3 points yesterday. But my thoughts is that that first half after 20 minutes was a shambles. Was a nightmare. Completely nightmare. It wasn't our best performance. It was the worst performance I've seen. I would say at home. Obviously I know Ipswich we lost, but at least with Ipswich we did try. But the last like I said, couple of weeks since the Pompey game away, it's been really bad. It's been really bad. There's a lot of work to do in that club. Especially now after yesterday where we was hit with a load of injuries before and in the game. So that is not great for us. That is another bad thing where we may definitely need to call the emergency loan market a go. But yeah, listen, the positive side is we got the 3 points, we won 3-0, and we saw some terrific goals. I would say this: there was a couple of amazing goals. I'll say that. The negative side, we'll get into it now. Basically, we was attacking for the first 20 minutes. Great, absolutely brilliant. We had a couple of opportunities. That pitch was a shambles. Again, it needs to be sorted out. It looked really bad. I know a lot of people are saying it's because of the frost and the sun's not getting to it. But seriously, something needs to be done with it, and in a quick way as well. We're not at home for a couple of weeks, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can retain that, look after that well, and get our pitch back. Make sure the development and women's team do not play on it. That's one thing. So yeah, I think one other thing is why the hell is it one? Well, I can't even say why the hell is it one side. Obviously the sun is definitely not getting to that side where all that frost is. Well, where it looks really bad. Which, okay, cool. It can be a problem and all of that. But yeah. Burrell scored our first goal. Madsen got in the assist, and I'll be honest with you, that is the way we should be scoring goals, like that. Playing the ball through into an area where the player's free that can run onto the ball instead of touching it or whatever like that, holding the ball up like a deep line forward. And Burrell did a great job in waiting patiently for that ball from Madsen. It was good choice by Madsen to pass it through. And it was a great strike. It's a young keeper Sheffield Wednesday had in goal. So unfortunately, it's not going to be the greatest experience for him. But, we finished that goal really well. I don't blame the keeper, but in Sheffield Wednesday's defense, not defense, but as in their defense, and what they're going through at the moment at that club is not great, So it's great to see that we came into it 20 minutes into the game. Well, not even that. The first couple of minutes into the game, and we done that to basically get the lead 1-0, which was really brilliant. Sorry, I got a really bad throat today. My apologies. I'm just gonna get the game up here on here. Yeah, so the first goal came in around about 14 minutes, where Burrell scored, obviously, and Madsen finished it. Well, not Madsen threw it pretty well, really good. But then after that, obviously we had a corner around about the 19th, 18th minute mark. We did, where Roman Burrell almost finished a nice header, but unfortunately just couldn't get the finishing touch to it. But whilst going down onto the ground, the stamp, or accidentally step, that Sheffield Wednesday player did on his hammies was not, well, it didn't look too bad from where I was standing when he stepped on it. But he was really Burrell was really feeling it really badly afterwards. He was not happy. He was uncomfortable. He was limping. He was struggling to run. And yeah, that little thing there cost us almost the game, I would say. When he obviously had to get taken off, Ryan Colley came on. He did around 20 minutes, I believe it was, 21st minute, yeah. And it was a concerning injury, when your top striker gets in the 10th goal of the season on the day and has to be substituted for injury. And then after the game, they say that it's not looking great, is a bit of concern. Is he going to be out for the rest of the season, or is he going to be out for a period of time, weeks, stuff like that? But he will definitely be missed for West Ham, unless it was one of them things where, oh, okay, let's scare West Ham, or something like that, to acting like, oh, our best striker's injured or whatever. But yeah, Burrell will be checked. There's no news yet on it, apart from obviously at the end of the game where they said it didn't look good. And in my opinion, that could mean many things. So yeah, at the moment, I'm just going by with what I saw, and what at the end of the day, it looks like it's going to be a while out, to be honest. So yeah. But after that injury, it was very quiet for us. It was very appalling. The passing was dreadful. There wasn't that many clear chances in the box. Nothing really happening. It was dead quiet. During about the 40th minute mark, I believe Varane went in for a challenge at Sheffield United player to win the ball back, which he did. But unfortunately, during that challenge, he got himself injured. His knee, I think maybe it got twisted. I couldn't really see the best camera angle of it, but he was really struggling and had to be subbed off for Sam Field in the 45th minute. He did, and he was limping off, so that hopefully isn't too serious. There's not any news on that just yet, but fingers crossed. Hopefully he's all right, because he's a key important player to us. And the amount of injuries that we have already, and obviously players coming back already, but with him, he's an important player, very serious player, and we don't want to lose him. It's a serious one, that one. And because it's the knees, it looked like the knee, it's going to be a bit of a problem for us as well. Halftime obviously went in. Julian, I'm guessing, didn't like what he was seeing in the first half, so he switched it up. Poku, when it came off for Dembele. Poku, I don't know what he came off for, whether it was a tactical change or an injury, or whether he was just coming off because he was still coming back to fitness. It could be one of them things. Nothing's been said about it yet, but Dembele did come on, and I'll be honest, it wasn't the best of performances even from there. Continuing obviously to about, say, the 60-minute mark, where things changed the game a little. There was a bit of a change. Sheffield Wednesday and QPR both in that second half were both pretty much going for it, at mixtures of times, but it was pretty much Sheffield Wednesday from the 63rd minute all the way to the 71st minute. Well, I would say technically the 78th minute, I would say, before the goal went in. Yeah, so they made 2 subs. Liam Palmer and Nathan Redmond both came on. They did change the game a little bit. It gave us a bit of a struggle on the wing when Nathan Redmond did. But then on the 81st minute, Ryan Colley bagged his first goal of the championship this season and his second goal for the season. Obviously from the cup game he scored against, I think it was Plymouth Argyle. So yeah, Ryan Colley, it was actually a tremendous finish, honestly. I've said this many times with Colley, you know, until you actually see him on the pitch playing, you're not going to see the best of him that much until, you know, I believe if you play him in the first half and he gets to game time and then runs through to the second half, you'll see a good Colley perform well. You know, you can't just sub him off just because he's young and he's not, you know, you expect, people expect too much from him. You know, we all know he's a talented guy. He can play on the right, can play in the middle, can play on the left. You know, he's a very talented kid. And he has a crack. Do you know what? He's probably up there with Kone and Burrell with shot quality. Honestly, he has one hell of a shot for his age. Honestly, he's just dangerous on the ball when he shoots. Because when that second goal went in, the first goal of his, Ryan Colley, obviously it was assisted by Kone, it was, who touched it on. But it was actually great play because Colley came forward, touch and go, and this is the type of football I want to see from QPR, because this is what Julian did at Strasbourg and Rennes. If you watch the videos, he did this forward line where the forward line would come towards the ball and he would touch and go, and that's, to me, is the best way. Like, you're only going to beat, unless you could do it on your own and all of that, that's the only way you're going to beat a defender, in my opinion. But what great talent Colley did. Touch and go with Kone. Passed it back to obviously Colley. Colley doing well on his own, getting it on his strongest foot on the right, and just a cracking, powerful shot, right into the right bottom corner. It was keeper obviously had an opportunity, could have got it, but I reckon because of experience wise, you know, he ain't getting to that. You know, with the power that Colley was distributing on that shot, it was a cracking goal to make it 2-0. Great work by Kone and Colley to get the goals done. Then after that, Isaac Hayden and Kone, Richard Kone and Davis came off for Kieran Morgan and Hayden. Soon as the subs went off, soon as it all changed the game, to be honest, Kieran, Sheffield Wednesday gave the ball away, and it went high in the air to Kieran Morgan, and Kieran Morgan headed the ball into the box, and Colley, what a thunderous lob strike it was from the right foot again to beat the keeper to make it 3-0. And this is what Colley does, you know. He's proven it in development squad, and he needs to get his opportunities in this first team. He does, because he has the ability to be in that first team. He's a quality striker, and he's, like I said, he's young as well, and he deserves his opportunities. Kieran Morgan as well. You know, I've said this many times. You know, a lot of time, you know, I've been told Kieran Morgan is a defensive midfielder, a right back, a defensive player. But he performs a lot better for QPR in an attacking threat. You know, he seems to be a number 10, Kieran Morgan, not a number 8, you know, not a number 3. Oh, shit, that's not good. Oh, no. Okay. Hang on, people, give me a second. Sorry about that, people. Just a bit of an incident. Give me a second. Right, so where was we? Yeah. Kieran Morgan. I honestly believe is a number 10. Honestly, number 10 completely. You know, Kieran Morgan is a great talent, but I honestly think he performs a lot better as a number 10 for us, you know. But going from there, it wasn't much chances after that. You know, possession-wise, QPR wasn't really possessive yesterday. Like I said, they didn't really play a good game. It was very appalling still, in my opinion, even with the win. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday were playing the ball sometimes from the back, which obviously controlled the game. But apart from that, we dominated in the sense of total shots, expected goals, big chances. You know, pretty decent. Usual what we usually do sometimes. Well, what we should be doing at home. And it was a great win. You know, 3-0. Each player was doing really well, apart from Poku, obviously, because he came off at the first half, or second half, the start of the second half. You know, Ben Hamer, 7.6, Davis, 7.5, Cook, 7.0, Dunn, 7.6, and Benge, 7.0, Sato, 7.0, and Varane, 7.1, Madsen's 8.3, Poku, 6.7, Kone, 7.8, Burrell, 7.3. You know, goals from Burrell and Colley, assists from Kone and Madsen. You know, there's still some things that we need to focus on, like Mbenge. To me, Mbenge is not right back. He's yet again made so many mistakes running on the attack. You know, he's a good defender, like I keep saying, repeating myself. He's good at right back defensively, but attacking, he's not there. 100%, he's not there, you know. But I can see, obviously, certain improvements that need to be done, but the main concern right now is injuries. You know, we had a lot of injuries yesterday. You know, Morrison got taken, well, not taken off, but swapped at the start of the game for Steve Cook because of an injury on his hip. Obviously, Burrell came off, Varane came off, Poku came off. So, yeah, it's a big concern of what we can see. And a lot needs to be worked on with that. Obviously, there's no news yet on the injuries, but I just saw some things, but I think it was just saying Eleanor was saying hope Burrell not out for long, I think it was. So yeah. Comment wise, Nick says, on the injuries, why don't we get notified by now? It's not like they've got to wait on 24 hours like us on his NHS. I'll be honest, I don't know how it works with that. You know, sometimes scans and stuff like that do, you know, depending on what they want to do with it and stuff like that. So yeah, worst case scenario for West Ham is that instead of 6 or 7 wingers, we could be down to just Smith and Sato. Nick also says, I think JS said Poku felt something at half time, so that's why. Okay. DB, do you think with all these injuries, as we'll play Kone up front and plug the midfield with Hayden, Madsen, and Morgan? Collier's class just needs to be less sloppy on the ball, but he is a young and still learning the game. I would say against West Ham, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, right now, depending on what the scenario is with the forward lines and injuries, you know, creativity is a key factor in football. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know what's going to happen. West Ham is going to be a big game, a cup game. It's going to be important. And yeah, so the playing style and the players that we pick, we won't know much until we get more information on the injuries this week, and obviously from the preview of what QPR put out before the game. So yeah, but apart from that, that is pretty much sums up the match preview, I would say. The main concern is this: injuries. Like I said, Leo Morrison was drawn out at the start of the game. Burrell obviously came off of a hamstring injury. Varane, knee. Poku, if he felt something, then hopefully he's alright. But they're all concerns, and they're all things that I think they will, like you said, we would like to know as fans what the scenario is and what's going on. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not too bad, and they come back quick and swiftly, without rushing them, obviously. But they're key players, you know, and if we need to dip into the market, it's a big factor that we do this in January. You know, loans, whatever it is, it needs to happen. But yeah, going from there though, from match preview, there is news of certain things. Obviously, there's no news on Ronnie Edwards whatsoever. But there is news on QPR are interested in a centre-back from Scotland, a defender, who can be on the wings as well. But yeah, that's the only news at the moment for QPR, I would say, because obviously, you know what, there's just a dead quiet on Ronnie Edwards at the moment scenario. But right now, QPR tend to be interested in a young centre-back from Scotland. It looks like it, as well as other teams like Portsmouth and Sheffield United. It was put out there on Twitter and also by QPR Central. So shout out QPR Central on that. If you want to go follow them on Instagram, make sure you do. They're pretty decent when it comes down to news. And yeah, go from there. Apart from that, I've been looking to see if there's anything out here on any news on Twitter. The only thing is that the centre-back from Scotland. Oh, also, right, that was it. Zan Seller. So there's big talks of Zan Seller there is at the moment. Dusseldorf, I believe it is, want him to return to QPR. QPR don't want him back. It's that simple. QPR said they want him to stay out on loan. Dusseldorf want to cancel the loan this as soon as possible because it's not working out. I would say this. I would take Seller back any day. I would take him back personally. I think he's still good. I think he might do well under Julian. But the problem is, whether it's Julian or Nuri or whoever, someone doesn't want him at the club yet. And that's factor, you know. I think someone said Julian can't do anything about it because obviously he hasn't seen much of playing time from Zan Seller to be confident to bringing him back. So I would say personally this, you know, if someone's not getting game time at a club, you really need to sort it out. You know, the reason why they go to a club is to get game time. Otherwise, you might as well just keep him at QPR. The only thing I can think of is the only reason why they don't want to bring him back is because it's going to cause more issues with transfers. Because if we bring him back, we're paying the money for him. At the moment, I think Dusseldorf is paying his wages. So yeah, no one wants Seller. When you say no one wants Seller, do you mean as in sense of club-wise, or do you mean as in QPR fans or QPR itself? Because personally, as a QPR fan, I think there's something there with Seller. I honestly do. Seller is got a good CV, as you would say. You know, he has played with top clubs, you know, and he's proven goals. Obviously, last season wasn't his best with QPR. Obviously, only scoring 2 goals in the Cardiff game, and then that was it, getting injured. But I honestly believe he can play Julian's football. Honestly, you know, the way we scored goals yesterday is the way Seller wants his balls played to him to score goals, in the sense of running past him, not to his feet, but running through him so he can get into the box easier. But yeah, I would say Zan Seller is one of them players that I really enjoy watching. I've watched him at Roma. You know, I think he was a great talent at Roma when he was young. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, QPR don't want to bring him back. Dusseldorf want him. So yeah, Dusseldorf want him back at QPR. So yeah, yes, it's not working anywhere for him. You would expect him to go on loan and score a few goals, but he hasn't done any of that. There's a reason why we don't want him back, because he isn't good enough. Listen, look, I get the fact that he isn't scoring goals for Dusseldorf, right? But I don't think he's getting that much game time or to even prove anything at Dusseldorf what he can do, you know. You know, I think the only way to say it is you either find a different club for him to send him out on loan, or you have to sell him now. Because if you're telling me you're not going to have him at QPR, there's no point of keeping him out on loan. You know, you might as well bring him back and sell him to a club that want him. You know, obviously, clearly someone doesn't want him, but there must be a club out there that, if you lower the money, you know, we're gonna lose. So we're gonna lose money on him. Whatever happens, this transfer, we're gonna lose money. The only reason why they sent him out on loan possibly is the fact being to do the same thing as what maybe like Santos or anything like that, to basically get your money back from what you bought him for. You know, Santos was technically a freebie, but yeah. In my opinion, I like Seller. I think he's a good talent. I think he'll do well under Julian. But the only way you really find that out is if you bring him back and you try it out. You know, that's my honest opinion. Obviously, you know, you're entitled to your opinions whatsoever. You know, I'm not saying it's no, yes, wrong, whatever, but yeah. Thank you for the message though, the chat. Much appreciated. For tuning in, Stuart. Much love for that. Nick says, I really like Salah. Always wait, what? I really like Salah. Always felt he was unlucky not to be given a fair go. You did say something else. DB, would you think that getting a right back and switching Mbenge to the middle might be a more shrewd decision and paid a lot for Ronnie? I think we have a right back, but the problem is it depends if he's good enough, you know? I think right back scenario needs to be fixed, and I think personally Mbenge should be playing centre back. That's my honest opinion. I think he will do well with Jimmy Dunn in the centre back position, but unfortunately, Julian's the manager, and Julian sees something in him in right back. You know, for what I can see on a day-to-day, well, a weekly basis, when he attacks, he's not great, but when he defends a right back, he's brilliant. You know, it depends on how he wants to play his wing backs. If it's wing backs and full backs, depending on what it is, you know, it goes from there. But as far as I'm aware, you know, Jimmy Dunn is better attacking than him. I would say, you know, Mbenge can dribble, but he seems to dribble a lot better in the middle of the pitch. You know, it's a bit weird. You know, he gets lost on the wing a little bit when he attacks. So yeah. Apart from that, there's no other news apart from the Salah. And yeah, so if Salah, Field Chair, and Frey want that, should pretty close to 10 million. It depends. Look, you got to remember on the contract scenarios and all of that, Nick. If some of them contracts end, say, in the next 6 months, you're not going to get that much room. One bit. You know, Salah, you're only going to get, realistically, 500,000 to $1 million. Field, you're probably looking at $1 million at least. Chair, 2 million. Frey, you're probably looking at the same as Salah. So yeah, I would say you're personally just going to get 5 mil out of it, because you've got to remember where that's going to go to. Got a lot of options at left back, but they're all young, like Adamson. That's what got Norrington Davis. You know, there was talks of Davis going back to Sheffield United, but I don't honestly know what's going on with that right now. He's enjoying his time at QPR and doesn't want to be called back. I don't think there is any option to call back. So yeah, but right now what I say is this, you know, we have a good team. Injuries have hit us again in this game, and fingers crossed we can use the January transfer window really decently in a good way, and hopefully at least stay in the top 10 and perform well. I really want to see better games than what I saw against Sheffield Wednesday. The last couple of weeks have been really bad for us, whether that's tiredness or whatever, but we still got a lot of work to do with QPR. So yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much it. That sums up our match. Final thoughts of the game today. Man of the match, like I said, goes to Collie. He deserved it. Really did. He came on and killed it in that first half and the second. So yeah. Nick says, got nearly 5 mil for Kelman. He wasn't worth that. The only reason why we got 5 mil, because we sold him to a stupid club that thought he was going to score the same amount of goals as he did for Leyton Orient. So yeah. And there was add-ons to it as well. So you got to remember, even look, we bought Kone and his add-ons to Kone as well. So, you know, that's football. That's how it goes. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, apart from that, that's it. That's pretty much sums up today's live stream. Bit of a short one, unfortunately, today. I've generally covered everything that I've seen today and yesterday. But one thing is, I'll say this: Collie needs to play more. That's the main thing. Collie, I want to see Collie play more. That's a thing that I really want to see. But yeah, we got West Ham on Saturday. We'll be with our match preview this week sometime, whenever it is. And yeah, we'll go again on Sunday, against West Ham in the cup game. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. I hope you all have a good evening. Peace, love, positivity, and we'll catch you next time.